Hey everyone, Random Randy here. This is the first episode of what I'm going to call Yarn Talk. In a Yarn Talk episode, I'm going to show you some of the things that I'm working on, works in projects or WIPs, from both knitting and crochet. And I'm going to show you some of the yarn that I have, some of the yarn I've recently gotten, and some of the projects that I've finished this week. This is something that I'd like to make into a weekly episode. We'll see how that goes. I haven't been super consistent with my postings, but we'll see. I'll try. I'll make an honest effort for everybody, but I make no guarantees because I do still have 2 toddlers. So yeah. What I would like to show you first is something that I finished last week that I'm actually going to be frogging or completely ripping out the yarn and making into something better because I finished it and I hate the way it looks. So, I have this dark blue double crochet beanie that I actually made with the intention of making it for my son, my older son, because he really likes blue. Unfortunately, even with me using the recommended, smaller than the recommended hook size, it still came out a touch big. This is honestly probably almost big enough for me to be able to wear it. And yes, I'm wearing a hat in the house because it is super cold, and I don't know if you can see it through the window, probably not with the light, but it is actually snowing right now. That pretty much never happens here, which is kind of exciting because I have 2 little kids who would love to go play in the snow. But yeah, I made this with the intention of making it for my 4-year-old, and it was a little bit too big and it's really stiff. Usually with newer Red Heart yarns, it doesn't come out this, I don't know, this thick, this cardboard feeling. The yarn isn't even really scratchy, it's just the fabric. Even, it's just so stiff. I didn't like it. So I'm going to be taking this and eventually somehow, because I'm really super good at it, find my end and pull it all out and reuse the yarn for something else. But that was made with Red Heart Super Saver in soft navy. Soft navy. I also have this hat, which I made for myself because, as anybody who knits or crochets and sells objects knows, most of the time you're going to be busy working on commissions and have 0 time to make things for yourself. So I took a few hours the other day and made myself a hat with my favorite yarn. If you've watched any of my other videos mentioning yarn before, you'll know that it's Deborah Norville's Everyday Yarn in the Lava colorway because I'm just a red, white, and black kind of person. I mean, what can I say? It's how I roll. What else do I have? I actually don't have it with me right now because it is with its intended recipient. Our neighbor's little boy just had his 4th birthday and I made him a big squishy stuffed jellyfish for his birthday, and apparently he can't live without it, which is super cute. It's always great when somebody appreciates something that you made for them, especially as a gift. And I'll put a picture of that here. Isn't it cute? It was adorable. I thought my kids were gonna steal it while I was making it. I was like, no, this is for him. If you guys really want to, I can make you another one. I have more than enough yarn to do so. Oh, what else did I do? I think that's all the finished stuff that I have with me right now. Now on to the works in progress, which I usually have anywhere between, well, if you count the abandoned blankets that I have in the closet, and I think there's 3 of those, so I usually have anywhere between 6 and 7 works in progress going at one time. So here's the first one. This is a little amigurumi that I started. This is just the head and the body. As you can see from the pattern, with all these neat browns and tans in there, this is actually going to be a calico cat stuffed animal. So all I really have to do now is make the arms and the legs, which are all the same size, make a tail and give it ears and embroider a little face on it, and we're good to go. This yarn, which I saw in the store, just screamed cat to me the second I saw it. This is actually Red Heart Super Saver in the Platoon colorway, which just has a bunch of really neat, rich browns in it that I really, really like. Definitely kitty cat. Next one is a scarf that I started crocheting. I actually found this pattern that is for a scarf that's supposed to be quick and easy to work up to donate to the homeless and people in need of warm things. As you can see, this is kind of huge already. I ended up buying a second ball of yarn just to be safe because I'd rather have too much than get it 3/4 of the way done and go, crap! Now I have to go to the store and hope that they have the color that I need. But this is another Red Heart Super Saver. I really like variegated yarns. I don't know if you've caught that from the fact that very few of my projects are one solid color pretty much anywhere. But this is Green Tones, I believe is the name of this colorway. It has a bunch of different shades of green in it, as you can see. Light greens, dark greens. And it's got some front post, back post ribbing down here on the end for texture. And all the rest of it is just straight double crochet, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this is my go-to mindless project for when we're watching something on TV that I really want to pay attention to. Usually at night when we're watching TV, I just let my husband pick whatever he wants to watch. That way I'm spending time with him, but I'm also doing something for me at the same time. You know how it goes. So there's that. Oh, what else have I got? Oh, Lord, I have 3 more in here. All right. This one attached itself to my bag of hooks. There we go. Managed to not lose any in the process. All right. So this, also made in my favorite yarn in the universe, is the start of a crocheted tube sock. That's right, crocheted sock. Now, this is a slipper sock. This is something that I'm just going to be wearing around the house and maybe with my boots outside if it's really cold. Yes, I have giant feet. I have size 9.5 feet, and this is just starting to get up to my heel, but this is just a tube sock. This isn't going to have a heel that's going to require extra brain power and attention paying and stitch counting. It looks really nice so far. It feels super comfy. This is made with worsted weight yarn and an H and an I hook. So you're not having to go blind using teeny itty bit of little D hooks and weight 2 sock yarn. And I'm just using right now all the scraps I have of this yarn, because honestly I think I have maybe 10 more skeins of this put away. Everything I make for myself, for the most part, I use this yarn in. I also actually have a sweater that I started working on that I need to finish the second body panel and second sleeve for, that is a mixture of this and just plain black yarn. So there's about half of one sock. I think I'm going to make them crew sock length, so not quite mid-calf. On to the next one. This is the start of a shawl that I'm using, and as you can see, surprise, it's made with red and black yarn. This is actually made with Scarfy yarn from Lion Brand, which is an acrylic wool blend. But this is going to be a shawl. I I can't really get it in the whole frame. Oh, there we go. Maybe if I lean back far. But this is the width of it. It's gonna be 30 by 70 inches, I think. But it is one of the Coraline shawls. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. I want to say it's Coraline in Rio. But if you look, it's pretty much just V stitches. Start off with a foundation row. So it's got stretch on both sides rather than being tight like a regular foundation chain has a tendency to. And then you pretty much just do V-stitch and chains all the way across, back and forth, until it's the length you want it to be. That is made with Scarfie. This is kind of something that I'm not really planning to get done anytime soon, but it's probably going to be for me because it's red and black and everything I do is red and black. Now for the knitting project that I currently have actually casted on. This is completely out of character and colors for me. I really like the way it looks. I would never wear it, however, but I could definitely see selling it for somebody who would probably enjoy it. This was just me really testing out how to make this stitch. This is kind of a checkerboard pattern. Give it a second to focus. It's 3 knit, 3 purl all the way across for 5 rows, and then you switch, and that's what gives you this really pretty checkerboard effect. And this is a Loops and Threads Charisma yarn. I actually had to go buy another ball of this because I made the mistake of thinking that one would be enough for a scarf. Well, if you wanted to make just a little neck warmer, that might work for you, but just to give you an idea, this little bow right here, from here over to this side, is how much it makes when you're using a size 11 or 8mm needle. And I'm actually doing it on a circular needle just because it's easier for me to use them, because most of what I knit is hats. And I just flop it back and forth from side to side as I go. And these needles are the Knitter's Pride Nova interchangeable needles. They make life so much simpler because all you have to do is carry one little bag that has a couple of cables, your key to tighten your needles, and a whole set of needles. I think it cost, with the set of the chunky needles that run size 11 through 15, I want to say it cost maybe $70 altogether, but I might have gotten it on sale, I'm not sure. So there's my knitting project that's in progress right now. And I have a yarn ball winder that makes these really nice little cakes of yarn. It's super awesome for when you have a ton of scraps and you don't know what to do with them. You don't want to sit there and wind it by hand. If I have a really tiny scrap ball, I'll just wind it by hand and not even bother with a center pull, but cakes are so nice, they take up less space. I like it a lot. Definitely worth the, I want to say maybe $15 that the ball winder cost. Well, that's where that hook went. But yeah, this is where I keep all of my works in progress. There's like so much junk stuffed in here most of the time. Got my row counter, that's actually for my socks I'm working on. Have my little needles that are clover needles, tapestry needles for weaving in ends and sewing up seams. Hook I'm using at current. Itty bitty pair of scissors. They are the best scissors ever for taking places when you knit or crochet, because you don't have to have giant bulky shears. A pen, because whenever I'm doing a pattern, because I have a bad tendency to modify as I go, especially if I'm making something where there's two, like socks, gloves, whatever. I want to make sure that I do the same thing with the second one so that everything turns out the same size. That's probably really loud. I apologize. And of course, tape measure. I am horrible with gauge swatches. I never ever ever do them. And because of that, I pretty much just measure as I go. Every few rows I measure and make sure things are going the way that they should be. Oh, and my other new pen that I just got my set of these the other day. I actually got these from Wish. It's an app that you can download and it's all sorts of things from China. Super cheap. So I got this pen and 3 other pens that look like bones, but they look more like leg bones. This one looks like a spine. It has black ink and they write really, really fluidly. I was honestly surprised. I got a set of 4 for $1 and I think $2 shipping. So $3 for some really good pens. Oh, and of course, the thing that if you ever do anything in a spiral, you can't live without, stitch markers. I see lots of people use like bobby pins and scrap yarn, and I wonder how they don't lose their minds. Because if my kids ever get a hold of anything, this locks into place, and I know it's not going anywhere if they yank on it. I mean, it might pull a few stitches loose, but that can always be fixed. So what I'm going to show you now is the scrap yarn that I recently wound all into balls and made into usable, neat little cakes as well. I have a big plastic bin that we actually got in the garden center at Walmart. It almost looks like a flower on top, and it has holes under all the sides like they're handles, and it's red. It's a big bucket, but I use it to store all the stuff I'm working on out in the living room so that I can just pick it up and take it out of the way if the kids get too interested in it, or if, like the other day, we get up a few minutes after the kids and they've thrown every ball of yarn that I had in there all over the living room, which is super, super fun. Anyway, so I actually got the idea to put this in a box, a separate box, because I have so many bins of yarn that are packed full now that honestly, I need to go through an inventory because I have no clue what I have in some of them. Oops. But from watching some other YouTubers, particularly Queen's Yarn Boutique, I've been watching her videos a lot lately. I actually have this really cool photo box. They were 5 for $10 at Michael's the other day for Christmas clearance. And it's just got these really kind of steampunky wooden metal distressed look numbers all over it. It's supposed to be a photo box, but I thought it would work pretty well for a little scrap yarn. And this is what I have that I found in the bottom of my big red bin. I didn't even know there was this much crap in there. It's kind of insane. Have these, which are actually the same yarn. And it's nuts how I can tell what it is, even though these haven't had labels for a really long time. This is Lion Brand Wool Ease in worsted weight, which is a wool acrylic blend, and I can't remember the name of this colorway, but they're both the same orange. I used them to make fox hats. There's those. There's this, which is another wool acrylic blend, which I absolutely love. This is Stitch Studio by Nicole Mystic Waves. These are from 2 separate balls. This brand, they only sell at AC Moore. I've looked at it on eBay and the price is absolutely ridiculous. So once I run out of these, I want to say I've got maybe 4 or 5 full-size skeins left. I will either not use it for anything or ask my mom back home to buy some and send it to me and repay her for them. I really, really love the way that looks though. This is a leftover ball of Scarfie. I can't remember the name of this one either, but it's a wool acrylic blend. And it kind of looks almost like toasted marshmallows. I actually made 2 hats with 1 ball of Scarfie and had this much left over crocheting. I made a ski mask, and I also made this hat, which I'm thinking of doing a tutorial on at some point. But as you can see, it has an ombre effect the way that the colors change. And this was just half double crochet, actually crocheted flat, and then just seamed it up the side and tied the top together. I thought about doing a pom-pom, but I don't know. Sometimes I really dig making pom-poms, and other times I say, no thank you, ma'am. But I made this long enough that you can fold it up, wear it with a brim, you can wear it down with a slouch. It's super, super stretchy. It's kind of insane how stretchy this is. But that's made with a wool acrylic yarn, made with Scarfy from Lion Brand. What other things do we have in here? Got this left over, which hopefully you can see the sparkles. There we go. There's sequins throughout here. This is a bulky yarn. This is Deborah Norville Serenity Chunky. And I actually bought a bunch of these and made hats for the craft fair that I went to. And actually traded a woman for a red kitty cat hat that I had made with yarn just like this but in red for some really awesome peppermint salt scrub that was handmade with all natural ingredients and some really nice dog shampoo. This, I have more of this left over. This is a wool acrylic blend and it's variegated. I don't know if you can see the differences in color there. The lighting in here kind of sucks today because it's snowing and the overhead lighting is horrendous. But it is a wool acrylic blend and it has a glitter sparkle thread that runs throughout it that I think I just saw catch the light just right so you could actually see it. There we go. But I actually double-stranded this and knitted myself a hat with it. I can't remember the name of it right now. I want to say that it's Red Heart. It's a Red Heart Boutique something. I can't remember exactly what it is. But it says it's a worsted weight and it's super, super thin. So I put 2 strands together because I'm impatient. This is falling apart because I didn't tuck my end in very well. This is a Premier Eversoft yarn. It has blue and gray and black and yellow in it, and I actually used this to make a baby hat for a friend of mine who was supposed to be having her son right about now, but she had him 2 weeks ago, so he was a little bit early, which means that the hat that I made him, which is a 0 to 3 month size because both of my kids were huge at birth, the hat that I made him that's 0 to 3 month size is definitely not going to fit a baby who's only 5 pounds when he was born. But this is an all acrylic yarn. It's super, super soft. And as you can see, this little spiral pattern that goes all up through here, that wasn't intentional. That just kind of happened as I was going along. I was really pleased with it. I thought it was super cute. But this little boy's name is Orion, and I thought that this would be really nice because it kind of looks like constellations, only now he's so little. And even though they're in New York, I still don't know if this will even fit him by the end of the winter. I don't know, what do you think? Can't decide if I want to tear it out or send it to them and hope that it'll fit him before the winter's out. Next, another wool acrylic blend. I've really gotten into using them a lot lately. This is Tundra Twist from Hirschner's, or Herschner's. I'm not even sure how you would say it out loud. It's a yarn company. Apparently they do have actual brick and mortar stores, but I've always just bought from them online. This is a bunch of different shades of gray, and I use this solely for my knit Twilight Calico Nico kitty cat ear hats, which is the only thing that I knit and sell because knitting is still kind of stressful for me. But this is what I have left over. Usually one hat takes 1.5 of these. This is came from a 50 gram ball of yarn. So it takes about 75 grams, I guess, of yarn to make an average adult size hat. This is what I have left. This will probably make most of it, and then I'll need to tack another ball on for the last like 2 inches. That's usually how it goes. Or start out with the smaller ball and then finish with the bigger one. And this might not look like scrap, but I actually forgot about this completely. It was just hanging loose in a very sloppy partial skein still in the wrapper in one of the now 7 bins, I think, full of yarn that I have. This is multiple shades of gray with a little bit of almost blue tint to it. I can't remember exactly what I used this for. I want to say that it was a gift I made for my husband's stepmom for Christmas last year, I think. I think I made her a hat with this. I don't quite remember. But this is called Dove, and it is Red Heart Super Saver yarn. I actually got this in a pack of 3 from the same place that I got all of my wool acrylic gray. So those are all of the scraps that I have in here right now. I actually have a giant bin full of yarn that's, I would say, maybe 50% scraps and partially used skeins. It's kind of insane how it adds up. But I'm setting these all aside because what I want to do is, once I have enough small scrap balls saved, I want to do something that's a scrap buster project. Like maybe an ugly granny square blanket, an ugly scrap hat, just something cool to use it all up, because even with a tiny ball of yarn, I can't justify just throwing it away, you know? I mean, if you can make something with it. I mean, if a ball is this size and I've got a good few feet of yarn, even if it only makes half a row of stitches, who cares? It's better to use it up for something than throw it away, right? And sorry if it sounds like I'm sniffing a lot. Everybody in our house is sick right now, so I probably sound kind of scratchy and froggy too. But also have with me coffee, the lifesaver for not just me, but everyone around me. And yesterday, there isn't much left of it right now, but this was a Christmas tree soft sugar cookie with buttercream frosting. I made these yesterday. I've made this recipe 3 or 4 times now, and they're absolutely fabulous. They're super soft, they're thick, they stay soft. They're just like those Loft House cookies that you get in bakeries. They're so good. So good, but so bad at the same time. It's a good thing that it only makes about maybe 3 dozen, almost 3 dozen cookies, because it's so horrible. They're so bad. So bad this time of year. So that is all I have to show you for right now. I have a lot more things I'm working on. I'm hoping to finish up the socks probably today. And then I'll probably work on the scarf a little bit. With knitting, I go really slow. Knitting just is immensely slower for me compared to crochet. Crochet is speed and grace, and crochet is your first time using figure skates after learning how to skate on hockey skates. Which, in case nobody knows, means you're gonna plant the toe pick and fall on your face a whole bunch of times and have to start all over. So I guess that's it for this episode of Yarn Talk. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that there was something that either inspired you or gave you ideas, or maybe something new to try. I'm going to be leaving some links down in the description box below. I'm going to leave a link to the shawl I'm making with the scarfie, the Coraline, because I can't remember which one it is, but I do have it saved, so I'll put the link. And I will leave the link for those amazing cookies, because if you're into soft, delicious, pillowy baked goods at all, you need that recipe in your life. It will be fantastic for cookie giving and better than cupcakes for birthday parties. No joke. There's enough frosting on them. It's just like having a cupcake in a more compact form with no paper to throw away when you're done. So see, these cookies are eco-friendly. And if I can make this into a weekly thing, I will have a new video for you with more yarny goodness next week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so that you can catch more awesome stuff like this. The schedule that I'm hoping to set up is once a week I will post a yarn talk video. I'm thinking either Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to do either spooky Saturday or Sunday and do either creepypastas or some sort of horror reading. And I might also do just a random chat once a week too. 3 videos sounds like a lot, so it'll probably take me a while to get there, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.